How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. And yes, I am here. We're back. I made it just in time. Hi, Tom.
What's up, Brian? How's it going?
Hey, you know, I've been gone so long I forgot how to do this show. Do we, start at a certain time or something? Is this live?
I was looking at the screen. I'm like, is this a rib?
It
Do
was.
I jump in now?
I should have just had you go. Hey, it's Tuesday on the show, and you know what that means? We got a lot to talk about here today, everybody. I've been gone for a long time, and I have kept up with everything. I watched all the shows when I was gone. I got caught up on all the news, so I'm only out of the loop in terms of doing a live show. As far as what's going on in wrestling, I do have all of that. But Tom is joining us here today because Mike Sempervive cannot make it. And normally we do the Tom Show on Monday, but yesterday was Christmas. And so this will be our weekly Filthy Tom Lawlor Show. And Tom and I also have a plan, yes we do, for a special show. Probably, it'll be next week, wouldn't it, Tom?
It'll be in the upcoming weeks, that's for sure.
Yes, so maybe we'll tell you about that today. Maybe it'll be a surprise. But anyway, we got all of the lineups for the next couple of weeks, actually. There was no Raw last night. It was like a best-of show, so I didn't watch it. And NXT tonight's got some awards or something. And then SmackDown something or other as well. But anyway, we'll talk about all of that, all of the news, and more. And when we come back, I'll be a professional. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Denise Salcedo, Instinct Culture. Will, congratulations. I want to start off by asking you what the decision-making process was like for you in choosing AEW and becoming All Elite.
I've built up a trust and a rapport with Tony. I feel I'm at my best over here, and I've enjoyed every time I've come over here, and right now this is just the best decision for me and my family. I'm not interrupting my kids' school, my missus can see her parents, I get to be one of the best pro wrestlers that have ever done it, and I get to do it now on weekly TV, and I get to really test myself in these waters. I'm here for a reason, man. I'm here to go straight to the top. And I want MJF. I want that responsibility of being in the ring with him and testing myself, because for all this time, man, I've been on this side of the fence, and I've seen do you know what? We'd always say when we watch it, when we watch him come out, it was oh, he's not ready for the main event. I went, no, I'll watch, and he did it. No, he's not a good champion enough. I went, no, I'll watch, and he did it. I keep saying it, man. I love watching MJF. I like the idea, but I want to see when he says his catchphrase. I want him to look me in the eye, bruv. Are you a fucking liar? I think you are, mate.
Hey Chris, Denise Salcedo. I have a two-part question here. The first one is, we were just talking about Will Ospreay and the match that you had with him at All In. I wanted to get your thoughts on Will Ospreay becoming All Elite. And then the second part to that question is, there's been a lot of big things that have happened for AEW in 2023. And of course, given your history with the company, I wanted to get your thoughts on just what AEW has been able to accomplish this year.
First of all, I'm really glad that Will signed with us. I was kind of hoping that he was going to. We've been talking about it for a while. I talked to Will on the phone about it maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. I think the Wimbledon match you had was one of my favorites of the year. I think it was one of the best matches on the show, if not the best match. And that's what Will does. You know, I think this is one of the greatest career years for any professional wrestler ever. The thing I like about Will that he's just tapping into, that we kind of got into before our match, was his character. He's got a character that's very believable. And I think that's something he's really going to get to focus on here at AEW that you don't really get a chance to in New Japan because of the communication gap. So I think this is the right place for him. I think we know what to do with Will Ospreay. I think there's a lot of huge matches he can have here, and to do the style that he wants to do for as long as he can do it. To me, he's one of the most valuable players in the world, and one of the biggest gets that AEW could acquire. So I'm really excited about that.
All right, we're back here on the show. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom is joining us here today. Man, it's been a long time. Still
What a
getting back
calamity. A calamity of errors.
Yeah.
On the part of our fearless leader today as he makes it back on the air.
Still trying to get back into the groove.
How long's it been? 10 days, Brian?
It's been longer than that. I was looking at the calendar the other day. The last time I did Wrestling Observer Live, according to my calculations here, was the 14th of December. It is now the 26th. So 12 days since I have done an Observer Live. And I did do an Observer Radio on Christmas Eve, of course. They wanted to do a show Christmas Eve. But he did most of the talking, so I really didn't have to do much. So this is like my first real show back. Since actually my first show back since the Christmas show as well. Which some of you, watched the premiere on Christmas Eve. And it was not live, everybody. It was pre-taped.
How fitting, Brian, that you were gone. How long did you say?
12 days.
12 days. That reminds me of a very popular song, The 12 Days of Christmas, where you receive present after present after present. And what a gift it was for those 12 days.
Hey, it was a gift for me, let me tell you. You and Sempe doing whatever you did. You guys do a show every day, or what happened when I was gone?
We did 3.
You did 3, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you see what that is in the background right there? My YouTube plaque. It's back. It is back.
Well, you see this, Brian? Take a look right here. See what this is? That's the plaque of my teeth.
Wow.
It's been there for 40 years.
Well, I go to the dentist, so mine gets cleaned. But, there's a YouTube plaque. It's back. And somebody was asking, Brian should display the jar of blubber that he got from Santa in addition to that plaque. But I will say that the most disturbing thing about the Christmas show is that I did receive a jar of shoot blubber from Santa Claus.
How dare you say that about your friends?
And I don't know where it's at right now. So, yeah, that's kind of a little bit disturbing because that was disgusting. So I don't know where it's going to turn up, but I don't know where it's at. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the Christmas show. It was a great deal of stress every year, trying to figure out something to do after 18 years. But if you've not seen it, it's in lovely HD at video.f4wonline.com, or you can listen to it, wrestlingobserver.com. But it was quite the thing. So anyway, should we talk about some news, Tom?
Bring it on.
We got the world-famous SmackDown report later, but no Raw report. So tonight is some NXT awards show. They're giving away a bunch of awards, isn't that right? I think that's what is happening, so that won't be anything that we really need to, talk about too much. And last night's Raw was a best of, and I think this Friday's SmackDown is a best of. So I don't have to watch any WWE all week, which is ironic because I watched WWE all week when I was on vacation. Now I don't have to watch it. So anyway, we do have the New Year's Smash edition of Dynamite, which is coming up in Orlando on December 27th, which is close enough to New Year's, I guess. We've got the Continental Classic Gold League Finals. It is Jon Moxley, Jay White, and Swerve in a 3-way to determine the winner of the Gold League. We have the finals of the Blue League, which is Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. And we have MJF and Samoa Joe defending against the Devil's Henchmen. And Keith Lee will also appear because on Collision this week, believe it or not, they actually hinted that we might finally get Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland, which was a match they built and built and built to a year ago and then completely dropped, and now we may be going back to it. So that is the lineup for Wednesday. Who do you think is winning these two matches, Tom? These league matches.
There are a lot of possibilities. Very intriguing the way it's all set up because there's multiple storylines that you could look at no matter who comes out the winner. Should it be an all BCC final with Moxley and Danielson. Could you imagine Bryan Danielson taking those Triple Crown belts to Japan and defending them against Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom? Could you imagine Jon Moxley walking in to the international title, the first IWGP International title match with those 3 belts as well, and maybe creating some sort of Grand Slam championship? Is this Jay White's chance to get back into New Japan by winning these titles and then having the key to defending them? Does he defeat Eddie Kingston to do so, the very man who took him out of New Japan and the only man who could get him back in? Or has this whole thing been a setup for Eddie Kingston to realize his goal, his lifelong dream of honoring All Japan's finest moments and bringing King's Road to the USA and being the first ever modern American Triple Crown champion? I think that's where we're headed, is in the latter.
Well, Tom, I will give you my prediction here. Which actually, I got predictions for two of the big things here. Actually, I got predictions for everything they've announced. So I believe that in the Continental Classic Gold League Finals, Jon Moxley is going to win the Gold League. And
I agree.
And I think afterwards, I think Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland are going to have a brawl to set up a match at World's End. I believe in the Blue League Finals, Eddie Kingston will beat Bryan Danielson. That means the finals of the tournament will be Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley. The storyline being that Eddie has beaten everybody in the Blackpool Combat Club, and there's one more to go, and he will beat him, and Eddie Kingston will become the winner and the new Triple Crown champion. So I agree with you on that one there, absolutely. Because, I mean, I don't know if the announcers really know what's going on, but the announcers did make this comment that you realize that, you know, Eddie Kingston, like his life goal was achieved in winning the Ring of Honor title and the Strong Openweight title, and he just put them up in a tournament? They were aghast. And in fact, like, can you imagine him doing that and losing? It doesn't even make any sense to me. So I think he's winning the entire thing. And then my other prediction is this MJF and Samoa Joe against the Devil's Henchmen. We don't even know who these henchmen are, okay? I think there's a possibility that MJF and Samoa Joe are losing these Ring of Honor tag team titles. You want to know why? Because MJF is still doing his storyline, the bidding war of 2024, and his claim that his deal is up on January 1st, okay? So I think that they want you, the listener and the viewer, to think that this is real and that therefore they must get these belts off MJF just in case. So I think that he's going to lose the Ring of Honor tag team titles, which will also make you, the viewer and listener, think that he's also going to lose the world title to Samoa Joe, because we got to get those belts off him just in case. But I believe he will beat Samoa Joe, and then whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. But I think there's a decent chance we have a Ring of Honor tag team title change on Wednesday.
Who's going to be under the masks?
I don't know if we'll know yet. I don't know. Maybe they'll reveal the Devil. My guess is they'll reveal the Devil at the pay-per-view. That would be my guess. I think that MJF is going to beat Samoa Joe, and then we'll find out who the Devil is. That'll be the big reveal at the end of the year. Maybe he'll be so mad he'll be forced to resign because of what this guy did. Anyway, back in a moment with more Observer Live. You're clear.
Corey Lee with the Wrestling Observer. We saw pretty much the start of your career during kind of the tail end of the pandemic shows. now obviously you're a champion. Can you just talk about your from basically going from training school right to TV and how that has kind of changed from when you started as the cheerleader and now obviously as a member of the House of Black?
Oh, the cheerleader. Yeah, I think before I was training at the Nightmare Factory, I had maybe 5 matches on the indies ever, and then next thing you know, I was on TV. So it was a really big jump, and you guys all saw my growth on TV, which a lot of people you don't see. All of their growth is on the indies, and then they make it to TV. But you guys saw me at some of my lowest lows, doing the cheer thing, and finding myself and elevating myself. So yeah, you guys saw it all, I guess. But I'm very proud of myself now, and I did always see myself going this path, and I can't believe I'm doing it this early on in my career. I told myself, oh, when I'm 26, I hope I'm on TV. And 22, winning a belt, man, I'm trying not too hard to think about it because it's just so crazy. So, yeah.
Hi, Julia. Iman with LA Excise. Congratulations on becoming TBS champion. MJF, when he was here previously, talked about ageism in wrestling. He's 27, you're 22, you could be a senior in college. Have you experienced any obstacles due to your age, or maybe people not taking you seriously? And if so, how did you overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, I think being with the cheer gimmick, it was really hard to even take myself seriously, and I wasn't confident, and I always felt just like the little guy. I still am the little guy, and I'm still learning every week and every time I'm in the ring, and I love everybody's critiques. I really appreciate it. So, I mean, what was the question? Sorry.
Have you had any challenges, maybe?
Oh yeah, I remember coming to the back after my matches as a cheerleader, and people would just be like, "You'll get it eventually. Like, it's okay." And I'm like, "Oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not confident in myself. I don't know what's happening." So, I think it was just finding my darker side to really take it out of me. So now I come back from my matches and people are like, good job. You're figuring something out. And I'm like, oh, thank God I'm doing something right now, because it was a long path to find me doing something right. So.
The show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Aloha to all my friends out. Sorry, Tom. He shook his fist at me.
I put the finger up first, but then I didn't know if that's even allowed.
You're not allowed to flip the bird on national radio. Okay. We could get in big trouble for that one. So anyway, I got World's End coming up December 30th. We have MJF Samoa Joe, Tony Storm versus Riho, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland in a no DQ match for the TNT title. Continental Classic Finals of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Julia Hart versus Abaddon for the TBS title. Yes, Abaddon is getting that's like her gimmick. Vanish for months on end, get title shot, lose, and then somehow get another one, and then lose and vanish.
They brought her back for Halloween season.
And Hook versus Wheeler Yuta for the FTW title with FTW rules. It's the ECW style match. And then, I know you won't answer this, Tom, because you never tell me anything, but are you in the Rainbow?
No.
Would you like to be in the Rainbow?
Are there spots open, it seems? Is that what's happening? Or
I don't know. I just know there's a Rainbow.
I would love to be. But, I mean, I can't even beat Wheeler Yuta. Come on.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I got cheated, buddy.
Really? Well, was it fun?
Go back. Yeah,
I heard it was good.
I had a fine time, I guess.
You guess? God, do you ever have a good time doing anything? Anyway, IWGP World Heavyweight titles on the line. Wrestle Kingdom 18, January 4th. Sonata versus Naito for that title, Tom. We've got Okada versus Bryan Danielson, provided he makes it through. We've got Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, David Finlay to determine the first IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. I don't think Moxley's going in as a Triple Crown champion, unless we want to make a Quadruple Crown.
It's the Global?
That's what it's
title?
called. IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion.
I don't know what I called it. International.
It's global.
It's a Global Force Championship.
Yeah,
Back.
I think that Sean Waltman should be in there. Jerry Lynn, maybe. We've got Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado for the Junior Heavyweight title. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the television title. Shingo versus Tama Tonga for the Never Openweight title. Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney versus TJP and Francesco Akira for the Junior Tag Team titles. Winner take all. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi versus Hikuleo and El Phantasmo for the Strong Openweight and IWGP Tag Team titles. But it only says winner takes all. It does not say it's a unification match. So I think the winners will just have both sets of belts and maybe defend them one at a time. I guess we'll see. Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji. Now that should be the main event for the titles, what it should be. Kaito Kiyomiya and Shota Umino versus Ren Narita and Evil.
You want some of that gene blast in your life?
I've had too much of that. And the New Japan Ranbo. The Final Four will advance to New Year's Dash for the King of Pro Wrestling 2024 title, Tom. You could be fighting. You know what I want in this life, Tom? I want you to be the King of Pro Wrestling champion. Because then you could come up with wacky stipulations for all of your title defenses that the fans could then vote on. Would that not be amazing?
That would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a push for that. Then we have New Year's Revolution SmackDown. That'll be the day after the Tokyo Dome. This will be following that show. Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles in a three-way. Not for the global title, but for the number one contendership. The winner gets Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble.
Brian, you skipped the big day where the Assassin is going to challenge for the All Japan Triple Crown in between there.
The Assassin?
Yeah. You missed Noah's got a big show as well with a bunch of New Japan activity on there. And
really?
A Bushi versus Marufuji main event on the 2nd.
Well, you're welcome to take us through all of these big matches, bro.
I'm just going off the top of my head there.
Well, get the line.
Charlie Dempsey challenging Yuma Aogi or Kento Miyahara for the All Japan
Are you sure
Triple
it's
Crown
Aogi?
I was blasted on the board for not pronouncing a syllable during my
How did you pronounce
coverage.
Yogi?
Aogi.
And why were you chastised?
I don't know, Brian.
You know why you were chastised? Because people on the board want to chastise you for how you say people's names in Japanese. Happens to me all the time. What else do we have coming up?
Collision. There is
I was hoping you'd save the day there, but...
Well, there is a big WWE show with the first action of CM Punk.
That's right.
In ring. When is that? Is that tonight?
CM Punk and Dom's coming up.
At Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden. Yeah. Anyway, that's SmackDown on January 5th that I was talking about. Probably to sneeze. Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles. Kevin Owens versus Santos Escobar. Io Sky versus Michin for the women's title. That's a title match. And Owens and Santos is the tournament final for the U.S. Contender Tournament. And Butch and a mystery partner, whom I guess would be Sheamus, will be facing Pretty Deadly. Who do you think the mystery guy is going to be?
You would think it would be Sheamus.
Yeah.
Right?
You would think that. Yes, you would.
Maybe Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov.
Just to stick it to old Ridge.
Yeah, Ilya Dragunov, they did that injury angle with him. Do you know the day that happened, people were very worried that he was actually hurt? People who were there in the building. And then I watched it, and I was like, how did you fall for that? They pretty much, like the entire show, they teased that was going to happen with old Ridge. Him doing that promo saying, man, just one problem after another. I got to turn it all around. That he hurts another guy. That's a storyline.
What a bizarre storyline.
It is a bizarre storyline. And then, poor Trick.
It's either something weird like that, or you have to attack and go after someone's family. That seems to be the most common storyline that I've seen recently, right? We've had home invasions. There's also Dijak is now harassing Eddie Thorpe's niece. There's another one. Christian's whole gimmick is based on going after people's families. It seems to be the number one thing you can do to get yourself a big payday in this industry nowadays.
Guanzon makes a good point here. I don't understand why he didn't lose the title when they stopped the match. Good question. Why didn't he? The guy beat him so bad he couldn't continue. Shouldn't he be the new champion? If Shawn Michaels super kicks somebody, knocks him out, isn't he the new champion? So anyway,
now?
Well, not now. I presume now. I was Mackenzie Mitchell, who was cut from NXT for reasons I cannot explain for the life of me, did an interview, and she said that Shawn Michaels was caught completely off guard. He was blindsided. And, a lot of people used to say that on the main roster. The old, Vince loved me with that damn Johnny Ace. But I actually believe that Shawn Michaels was blindsided by that, because I know I sure was. I don't know why they got rid of her, but they did. No, it wasn't a non-title match. It was a title match. Ilya Dragunov put the title on the line against Ridge. Pretty sure. Anyway, who cares? All right, we also got... what's so funny over there?
Yeah, who cares?
Tanahashi is the new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, this one caught me off guard.
Caught me off guard, too. I would have been more caught off guard if they announced Mackenzie Mitchell was the new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but this would be second. But, they've done this before, as Dave noted, where, former wrestlers have gotten the president role, and, there's other people running the show and that sort of thing. But he did talk about his goals as New Japan president in a press conference Tuesday morning in Japan. He said he wanted to have more title matches, quote, outside of the norm. As a wrestler, our goals years ago was to first get 500 in smaller towns, then 1,000, then more. If we pack those markets in a sold-out Tokyo Dome is achievable, he said. By the way, Brendan says it was non-title. But again, who cares? Oh, well. He said, I'll be on the road with New Japan when the company is on the road. But when New Japan is in Tokyo, I will be in the office. The talk of him becoming the president became serious back in November as a request from owner Takaaki Kadani. He said the wrestlers found out about the change at the December 22nd Korakuen show. His goal is still to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, which he has not done yet. That's, of course, because they renamed it. He says, as an active wrestler, I still haven't won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. There's a lot left undone. But an ace can beat ace on both sides of the fence, I thought. There's an extent to where I have to live in this dual role a bit to find out just what it's like, how much I can handle. But I've never been tired. So I think I'll be fine. He wants more people in the building. And that's that. So, yeah, maybe you could talk to him, Tom.
I have talked to him, not since this promotion, but the last time I spoke to the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, maybe it's sitting around here, but he actually looked at me, he said, Tom, you look skinny.
Yeah.
And then he handed me a package of protein powder with his face on it, this shaker cup I have right here, and went on his way.
What a gimmick. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
years of my career, I was discredited because of my age and the amount of time I spent in the sport. But I think there's honestly a vast group of people that are wrestling fans that have no idea that when I was on the independent circuit, I was driving 12 hours 4 times a week to wrestle in front of 20 people with 20 freaking teeth combined, and I earned my spot. And sure, it might not have taken me as long as some of the guys that were sunning me that were, let's be honest, never was 30 milers. But I earned my spot. I don't care that I'm 27. I've been doing this now for almost 10 years, and while it might have only been 10 years, I study this sport ad nauseum, and I respect this sport so much. I won't say more than anybody else, because when you look at the show tonight, you know that this locker room respects the sport. But the reason that I did that is because I faced that adversity so much, not just from wrestlers, but from fans, because they're like, oh, this kid's a little, I am young. I absolutely am young. But I study this sport ad nauseum. I like to believe I understand this sport, and it is my goal to go down not just as the greatest AEW World Champion of all time, but it's my goal to go down as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And to top it off, one of the Creative Pro Wrestling students contacted me and said that a guy on an independent card he was with was bullying him and saying, what do you know? Who are you? I've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah, you've been doing it for 20 years in a gym, you fucking dick. How about cut that kid some slack and don't bully him? And also, by the way, the guy's like a 30 miler, like literally only wrestles once every like 4 months, but pretends he was a veteran. I'm not going to name names. The bottom line is this: not just this sport, but in every line of work, I feel like ageism isn't just for elderly, it's also for young people. There are a lot of young journalists in this room that I am very positive face a lot of bullshit because they go, well, what do you know? How long have you been a journalist? Fuck you. How long was Michael Jordan in the NBA before he was one of the greatest fucking basketball players of all time? How long was Maxwell Jacob Friedman on national television before he was one of the best professional wrestlers of all time? That is my goal. That is what I strive for. That's why I made that tweet. Sorry for the really long rant.
In the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Like Semper Vivi, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Before we get into the world-famous SmackDown report, a couple of things. First off, the second of 4 Whale Scout auctions now available at on eBay. And you can go to my Twitter at Bryan Alvarez, my X at Bryan Alvarez. It's sticking up there at the top. And, yeah, you can guest host Bryan and Vinny's show, Observer Live, or The Filthy Show, Tom.
What?
They can guest host with you. And all proceeds go to Whale Scout, registered 501c3 nonprofit. And you're buying tools and mulch and dirt and shovels and all sorts of things for habitat restoration. We're restoring a park here in Bothell. A former golf course will become a park. It takes a lot of work and a lot of money. So if you want to chip in, you can write it off because it is a 501c3 nonprofit. So check it out. The link is up there right now. This one is running for, let's see how much longer we've got. This one ends in 4 days. So get your bids in, please. We've already got a few. Really appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun to host these shows.
Bryan.
Yes, Tom.
Did something happen to my dear friend Orca?
You mean Oreo?
Oreo the Orca.
That has certainly been rumored. Yes. He has been rendered blubber. Yeah.
He has been compromised to a permanent end.
He does appear to have been compromised to a permanent end. It fills me with such joy. Here, I got my plaque back. Yeah. Santa's good for a lot. Hey, anyway, one other thing before the SmackDown report here. We talked about that Madison Square Garden show tonight with CM Punk. He will be wrestling Dirty Dom. Actually, I don't know if that's tonight. Is that tonight? I think he's doing actually Los Angeles, December 30th. But anyway, tonight, one thing I know for sure is that Sami Zayn is back. He's going to be working the Madison Square Garden show tonight. Yes, the Dom CM Punk is the 30th in L.A., and there's a reason it's in L.A. But tonight it's Madison Square Garden, and it'll be Sami Zayn and Jey Uso versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. That will be on the house show tonight. And Sammy will also be working the Boston show tomorrow, Montreal the 28th, Toronto December 29th, and L.A. on December 30th. That Montreal show, by the way, remember when this person says Punk is working both tonight as well. Well, anyway, I know for sure he's doing L.A. I do know that. And I also know that that Montreal show, you know, one of the issues with that, when AEW ran Montreal and they did that collision show and they taped on a Tuesday night and they did like 2,400 people or something like that, you know, the people in Montreal, I mean, it was just like one person after another. Didn't advertise at all. There was no local advertising. You know, they can't even get Collision up here. It's on a Tuesday night. And the other thing they mentioned, WWE is coming next month, and the ticket prices are cheaper for WWE than for that Collision show on a Tuesday night in Montreal for AEW. So a lot of stuff. Can you mention if he makes it like you do for Danielson every time? Are you talking about Punk? I think Punk will make it. I mean, if he gets hurt tonight, I don't know, man. I think he's going to make it to L.A. And, you know, he doesn't need to even wrestle in L.A. He just needs to be there. That's the whole thing. All right, SmackDown. How much of this did you watch, Tom?
Why you put me on the spot like that? You know the answer.
You saw highlights?
I saw highlights.
God.
You got to throw me under the bus.
Yeah, why didn't you watch your favorite show?
Well, let's see. Christmas weekend.
I guess there wasn't.
I wasn't supposed to be on the show today until this morning, so it was tough to do that. Carr went to the shop. What else would you like to know?
Well, I'd like to know what you thought of the opening segment where AJ returned. He is now a brooding character, although apparently he broods a lot in the gym. That's what I've got out of this. He's all gigantic.
I need to get injured.
Yeah, everyone comes back real big when they get injured. But anyway, he comes back, and it is him, LA Knight, Randy, and they all want Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. And so Nick Aldis comes out. He says, you all have a legitimate claim to face Roman. I'm like, what legitimate claim does AJ have? He's been out for months. The legitimate claim is the Bloodline took all of them out, except LA Knight. And his claim is they didn't take me out, so I should get the shot. But anyway, they announced the three-way New Year's Revolution. And AJ adds, if you guys interfere in my match with Solo tonight, I'm going to take you out as well. We had Damage Control against Zelina, Bianca, Shotzi, and Michin. Holiday Havoc Street Fight. I got to say, the one thing about this show, as I say all the time, live and tape doesn't matter. And in the ratings, it usually doesn't matter, although sometimes it does. But, you know, people always go, oh, there's so much crowd sweetening in WWE. Why don't you mention it? Blah, blah, blah. The fact is, like, there's crowd sweetening. There has been for as long as I've been watching WWE. There's also crowd sweetening in AEW. And, but this show, God, they taped this after last week's SmackDown. So it was like 2 SmackDowns in a row. Crowd had been sitting there. They already sat through 1 SmackDown. So, man, this second hour of the show, it's like there was so much crowd sweetening, and this crowd was just sitting there. And they did, you know, get into some stuff there at certain points. But, like, this match here, like, there's just no heat. And they're hitting each other with stuff. There's that weird noise, that crowd sweetening noise. And, yeah, I didn't like this show because of the crowd. But they kind of got into it there at the end. And then it got really stupid. Kabuki Warriors open a box, and Isla Dawn and Alba Fire in there, and they play spooky music. Because they're spooky.
A lot of occult
Sucked.
and spooky stuff going on this show. AJ Styles is now brooding.
Yeah.
They have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn doing their, I don't even know what gimmick this is. Fiery witches. Later on, we've got Killer Cross. He's back. Or Karrion Kross, I apologize.
Yes.
Karrion Kross, he's back. He's spooky as ever. And now he's got some more backup spooksters.
I like this guy wrote witchcraft gimmick, but witchcraft was 2 words. Like, they do crafting. Anyway,
Sculpture.
Michin hit Eat to feed on Io, put her through a table with a senton, got the pin, so she's getting a title match coming up at the show in 2 weeks. Paul met with Roman. He wants he wants Nick Aldis, so he shows up later. Dragon Lee and Butch. So I will say, early on it was the annoying, droning, no heat thing, but these fans got into this match at the end because they did all these incredible spots. We had Pete Dunne going for the bitter end, but Dragon turned it into a destroyer because they've loosened up the restrictions. You can do pile drivers and destroyers now. And then he hit the Destino, got the pin. Very good TV match. Would have been better on pay-per-view, but it was good.
Dragon Lee does a destroyer to set up his finish in almost all the matches now.
Yes.
So what a great counter that was.
Then we had Nick Aldis meeting with Roman. And Roman is upset that he signed all these matches, but he did not go through Roman because Roman's in charge. And he says even Adam Pearce understood that. And Nick says, well, I'd say you hurt my feelings, but, I'm an executive. I don't have feelings. Adam, he's more like a middle manager. I'm the general manager, and the buck stops with me. So I think this Solo can take care of himself. He took care of John Cena, and I'm looking forward to him facing AJ. I'm looking forward to the three-way, and I'm looking forward to us getting to know each other better. Pats him on the shoulder and leaves. Roman is furious. This guy didn't bow down to him.
He was great.
Yes, they were both great.
The sharp end of the stick on SmackDown, as Aldis called himself.
Then we had Kevin Owens beating Carmelo Hayes. Good match. They beat Carmelo, but the gimmick was, he almost got the win several times. He kicked out of all of Kevin's moves, including the pop-up powerbomb, but then finally ate the stunner, got pinned. Kevin in the finals of the tournament. Winner gets a shot at Logan Paul. Then we had AJ. He's all brooding as OC and Michin try to give him a hug. He doesn't want anything to do with them. Lashley and Santos Escobar. This was just kind of there. Santos, Lashley's making his comeback, and this masked dude shows up. Then another masked dude does a dive off the apron to take out the Street Profits. Lashley's distracted. Santos clips a knee, rolls him up, pulls the tights, gets the pin. And so afterwards, the masked guys... It's the former Los Lotharios, now known as Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo.
What? The guys who lost to Ricochet at WrestleMania?
They're back.
2-on-1? Oh.
Yeah. They were Los Lotharios, and they did weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of vignettes on NXT. Talking to their deceased grandfather, among things. He scratched them in their sleep, and they bled and then got tattoos. That was kind of weird. But anyway, after all that, they re-debut, repackaged as Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. And I tweeted, I go, all that and their new name is Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo? And Angel Garza actually responded on Twitter, and he wrote, for now. It is still for now, for those of you keeping track. They still do not have a name. They are Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. And then we had Butch getting attacked by Pretty Deadly. They announced a match for later. Logan Paul buried Kevin and Santos. Whatever you think about this Logan Paul, man, this guy is a hateable heel. He is a real heel. And then the main event was AJ and Solo Sikoa. And man, this crowd sitting through all this, 2 hours of SmackDown, and then another 2 hours of SmackDown, and then they get this match, and Roman Reigns runs in for the DQ. I was like, God, thank God I didn't go to this show. Terrible finish. And then they did do an angle afterwards where, first the heels are going after AJ, and then, Orton runs in, and then LA runs in, and then more heels run in. Finally, the babyface clear the ring. So they're all just 3 babyfaces in the ring. But then they get in a fight. 3 babyfaces. And Solo and Jimmy are about to hit the ring and pounce, and Roman goes, no. Let them beat each other up. So they all beat each other up, and Roman is delighted as the show ends.
Yeah. Crowd firmly behind LA Knight.
Yes.
Throughout the 3-way fight.
Yeah. But he ain't going to win this 3-way. It'll be Roman Reigns. I figure Royal Rumble is Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and LA Knight, AJ Styles would be my guess. And hey, AJ should put him over because...
why do they even have a match? I think those 2 guys go in the Rumble.
Well, I mean, they could, but it depends on what they do for the Rumble. Like, sometimes if you have a match on the show, you're not in the Rumble. And sometimes you could have a match on the show and also be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So they could do either way.
They've done a good job of stacking challengers that at least have a legitimate shot at winning this Royal Rumble, I think. You've got to imagine there's Cody Rhodes, there's CM Punk now.
And it doesn't matter which guy wins because you got 2 title matches.
Yeah. If Randy Orton doesn't win this 3-way, he's a great choice to try to win that Royal Rumble. So, where's Brock Lesnar? Is he going to make an appearance? Is he coming back? Who knows?
I guess we shall see. Lenny says someone leaked a Rumble card for next month. Curious by its absence on it is the title that Seth has. So what does he think? Seth is losing the title?
I don't know about that leak. I saw it too.
Think it's all BS?
Yeah.
All right. Back in a moment with more Observer Live.
Not signed, but we had a great conversation. It came about, of course, there was some unfinished business. They had that match, and I thought it would be great for our fans to settle it in the ring. And at the Wrestling Revolver show, they had the tag match, and to be honest, I'd spoken to them, and I thought it would be great to have a match and build some interest, and then have the story come back to Ring of Honor, where Athena is the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. Billy Starks is her minion. There's a lot of interest in that. They have a great chemistry. For people who don't watch ROH every week, there's some really exciting things happening there. And Athena's reign as the Women's World Champion of ROH and Billy Starks as her minion, it's some really entertaining stuff. And I thought that it would be great to see that tag team against 2 of the horsewomen, 2 being Marina and Ronda Rousey. And Ronda was happy to come here, and she was great. The crowd was really excited to see her, and it was a great match. We'd love to have her back sometime. It was really fun being out here. She's a local. She's lives nearby, and that really helped make it possible. So anytime it's convenient, we'd love to have her back because she was tremendous. It was a great match. Yeah, she was at AEW All In, and it was great having her as a part of the show. I have a ton of respect for Mercedes Moné. We'd love to have her anytime in AEW, and I think she's had great experience also with our partner New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so she would be a great addition to AEW anytime, and we'd always love to have her here. I have a ton of respect for her and have had great conversations with her, and I think the world of her.
It is at the very top. I don't know where it ranks, but it's we all know, it's not a secret, that Jon Moxley is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. He'll go down as one of the best professional wrestlers ever. And he is tough. His skull hurts when I punch it. There was a time where Jon Moxley, put the company on his shoulders, and he carried it through some tough times. And there is so much respect I have for Jon Moxley, and I knew that this mountain of Jon Moxley that I had to climb would be very, very, very difficult. And I feel very grateful that I had the opportunity to fight him again, and I also feel very, very grateful that I beat him, because it's something that I never thought possible. Especially this past month, I wrestled Claudio Castagnoli and pinned him. Like these are, it's crazy. I am wrestling top anywhere in the world wrestlers, and I'm pinning them.
You know, I was thinking about this because before the break, you know, there was that alleged leak, which I don't think is a leak. I think it's just some silly thing. But somebody on our chat, when talking about the Rumble, said that they think they're going to do a 94 finish with Cody and Punk, which would be they both go over at the same time, they both touch the ground at the same time, and then Jack Tunney returns from the grave to give one of them a title shot, even though they could both get one since there's two times. But anyway, my point is this. So this is not really a complaint, because I actually think the Continental Classic has been awesome. But this is what I would not have done. And I'm sure it's going to turn out great and everything, but the finals of the one league is a three-way. It was a three-way tie with Moxley, Jay White, and Swerve. And then the other finals are Danielson and Eddie. And let me make this clear, because people are going to say, boys, Bryan, I'm just telling you what I would do. For the first year, I would not have done a three-way. I would have just had, here's the two people that won this block, here's the two people that won this block, and then the winners face off. My point is, when you're doing something for the first time, okay, I would do just the simple, basic, you know, this is what we said, and then this is what happened. I don't have a problem with the three-way, but I would have saved that for a couple years down the road or whatever. It's like, you don't debut the Royal Rumble, and the very first year you ever do it, you have a tie. It's like the very first year, somebody should throw everybody out and win. Second year, somebody should throw everybody out and win. Third year, okay, well, maybe someone, only 1 foot hits the floor, they sneak back in or whatever. Do that later on down the road. But anyway, thanks, Tom. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, my friend.
I'll see you later on down the road as well, huh?
Yeah. We'll talk to you again next time. Wrestling Observer Live.